So in Year 7 and Year 9, we studied cells. Some of these images may be familiar to you. In the top left corner, we have some plant cells, and we can clearly see the chloroplasts inside them and the double layer with the extra cell wall. The top right are red blood cells with their familiar biconcave dimple shape. Bottom right are cheek cells that will have been stained here with methylene blue, and bottom left are our sperm cells. So we're going to be looking at some of these specialised cells a little bit later. Lesson objectives then for today, we're learning to label plant and animal cells, refresh our memories from Year 7 and 9, plus also learn about 2 new additional cell organelles. An organelle is just a posh name for a part of a cell, like a nucleus or cytoplasm. We're also going to be able to describe the differences between plant and animal cells. So all organisms, apart from viruses, are made up of 1 or more cells. Viruses technically aren't living because they haven't got a nucleus, and the only way they can survive is by infecting other cells. You contain billions of different cells. So here are some cells that we've seen previously. The cells in an ant and an elephant are about the same size, but the elephant is much larger because it has more cells than the ant. So some of the important structures that you should have already be familiar with are the nucleus. We often draw this as a big black blob in the middle of our cell, a bit like a fried egg shape. And this is the centre. It controls all the cell's activities. So that is its function, its job. It also contains the nuclear material, chromosomes, which are important in cell division. The nucleus is usually circular in shape in most cells. Cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance that makes up the inside of the cell. It's where the chemical reactions happen in a cell. The cell membrane is the layer that goes around the outside of the cell. It separates the cell from its environment, and its very important job or function is to control what passes in and out of the cell. In a plant cell, there are 3 additional cell organelles. An additional layer around the outside called the cell wall. This is often made of cellulose and is there to strengthen the cell. The vacuole, which is in the middle of the cell, contains cell sap, a watery liquid, and the green chloroplasts, which contain a substance called chlorophyll, important in trapping sunlight so that the plant can make their own food by photosynthesis. Here we can see the dark green layer is the cell wall, thick, rigid, made of cellulose. Without it, the cell would not be able to maintain its shape. We can see the cell sap vacuole here filled with fluid, and this plays an important part in maintaining the shape of the cell and also the movement of substances in and out of the cell, which we will be looking at later in the second PowerPoint. Chloroplasts, as we said, important for photosynthesis and contain chlorophyll. In your booklets, can you draw me a copy of a typical animal cell? Generally, we do the outside layer of the cell membrane first. We label up parts, so cell membrane, the outside layer, the nucleus, as we've normally drawn it, a big blob, circular blob, small cell vacuoles, okay, in an animal cell, no large sap vacuole. The first of our organelles that you have not come across before at Key Stage 3 is called a mitochondrion. That's the singular name. Plural is mitochondria. We can see that they have this zigzaggy shape to them, and they're really important in the cell for releasing energy by respiration. Remember, energy is not made. You cannot make energy, okay? It is released by respiration. We also have the cytoplasm, which is where the chemical reactions occur. And finally, the last structure that you have not come across before at Key Stage 3 are ribosomes. They look like little dots in this image here. Their job is in protein synthesis. In other words, they make protein for the cells. Then can you draw me a copy of a typical plant cell in your book, again labelling the important cell organelles and annotating their function. So start with the outside layer, which is the cell wall. Draw a layer on the inside the cell membrane, a big space like a lake for the vacuole, and a grey, dark, circular blob for the nucleus. We have our mitochondrion, just like we had in the animal cells for releasing energy by respiration. But we also have our chloroplasts here, which are coloured green, that contain chlorophyll for photosynthesis. The cytoplasm is present in the plant cell, along with the ribosomes, again, which we said were used for protein synthesis. See if you can have a go at recapping, labelling up a typical animal and plant cell, and matching parts of some of the cell organelles with their functions. And then can you complete the table to summarise your understanding of cell organelle function, showing whether the organelle is found in a plant or an animal cell or both, and what the name of the organelle is.